When I done the ordinance, this ordinance was registered with the United Nations and the Security Council, as well as the World Health Organization. It's on the website. Joy will give all my details to all of you, whereby you can have my email address, have my phone number, as well as the web page. The cease and desist has got all the laws that are being broken currently, which we have taken to the World Health Organization and the United Nations Security Council, fighting against it, saying this is wrong, these are our rights. No longer are we going to stand under your authority, because we've never given up our freedom. Why should we fight for it? I've never given mine away. I don't know about other people, I haven't given mine away, so there's no reason why I will fight about it. I'm still free. Then my second ordinance went out. After the first ordinance went to them, 1 week later, my second ordinance went out stating what we are going to do. In my first ordinance, I said, these are the charges you people are busy trespassing. However, we are going to come together as society globally and stand against your tyrannical reign by opposing every single thing that goes against common law and human rights. Now we can start with the Magna Carta and we can go right through to whatever we want to. The Constitution, which does not, by the way, represent you, it represents the corporate. But we can start with the Magna Carta and we can say this is what our laws are. It's not our laws. The Magna Carta also was not our laws. It was adjusted to suit a group of people. When Eleanor Roosevelt reintroduced the Magna Carta, she said, this is the closest thing that humans can have to freedom. My second notice went to the World Health Organization and the institutions, telling them that under the Article 8 we are supplying people with diplomatic immunity. An honorable diplomatic status gives a person just that amount of freedom from the draconian measures enforced on us. And you may give up to 36 months, that's 3 years. Now we hope that this hoax ends in 36 months. We believe it will be sooner. But just for the diversity on this, we're going to push it. Now when a person goes into a restaurant or a shopping center and they say to you, you know, your mask, and you give them your certification and they say, yes, but the government doesn't accept this, or what is this, or the government doesn't know about this, then you say, thank you very much, sir, but here is my cease and desist. Who are you? And you write down his name. And what do you do here? What is your ID number? Thank you very much, sir. You are served in breach of my human rights.
Yeah.
You have been served and notified with a cease and desist order that has been registered with the World Health Organization and the Security Council. And you give that details that you've given to that man. You keep your copy and you send it through to the website.
Has he got to sign it?
If he signs it or not, he has been served.
How can you prove it unless you get somebody else to witness that you?
How would I have his ID number?
Okay.
Yes.
How would I, have his ID number, or where do you reside, or I wouldn't.
And then he calls security.
He may be security himself. Let them call him. You've been served, sir. Have a good day and goodbye.
But do you just walk in there?
You've given him your serve and desist. Once he receives his letter from the lawyer stating you have been served, you've served him now. Once the document comes to us, that is when we start working on it and we say, right, this is this institution. We had it on the West Coast. Miranda's town, what's it? Langebaan. We had it in Langebaan, where the shopping center did not want Miranda in. So we decided, well, this is right. And then we went to to town on the lawyers. And the shopping center sent us their lawyers. The owner of the shopping centre sent us his lawyers, and these two lawyers were fighting each other.
But I'm saying in practical terms, you can't just go and walk into the restaurant after you served your cease and desist, okay?
Is that the restaurant you want to be in?
Exactly. No, but what if you can't ever go to any restaurant?
No, that will
You
never
won't be able to
happen.
come to this one.
Yay! Even when the lockdown's on and closes
Definitely, don't accept other jurisdictions.
Is that question?
Yes. Just a tool. You know, all we need to do is read. Just read a little bit on common law. That's all. Don't verse yourself in it. Don't go and try and get a degree in it. Just read. This is my right. Shit, this is my right. I've known this, but I didn't know it. You know, we know everything, but we didn't know it because, yes, ma'am.
So let's say we take something small like a traffic fine, and now you're summoned to come to court, and if you didn't go through the channels of saying, I received this notice, but I reject it because I stand my sovereign being. If you say in the court that I'm not that entity, that person in the capital letters, I claim my
Right.
sovereignty, could they then attach everything that you have
No.
that is, no?
No, they cannot attach everything that you have, even if it is in the capital, is registered in the capital name. Because then the corporation is stealing from the corporate. So no, they cannot take, they can threaten. But
Do
they
you
cannot
want to
take.
describe the whole corporation as opposed to a country?
Let's talk of a board of directors with the president over the board of directors. Then we talk at managerial level. Then we talk at the next level, assistant to the manager. And then we talk of the admin teams. And then we talk right at the bottom of the workers. Now that is exactly what the government is all about as well. It's also the same triangle or the same pyramid, whatever we want to look at it, with the one entity on top which is called the president, prime minister or king. And the rest underneath it is honor to him. Now no man put another man above anyone else, as we were even created equally in his eyes. Equal to him, not equal to the man he made next to me. So since day one, governments globally have been on the wrong path. But that is where we see power, and power that is abused is not power used. It is where we see power being abused that we take advantage. Power is a difficult thing. Power is a difficult thing to have. People cannot handle power. When we were talking just now about Nessara, Gesara, which really, guys, please read up a little bit on it. The total that they mentioned, that every single citizen must get is $7.6 million US. Damn! What am I going to do with 100 million rand? You're following what I'm saying to you? What is my brother going to do with 100 million rand? Look, I've got a great brother, very great guy, but he hasn't got the staying power. To him, the trolley gets filled and we go out. When I get to the till, I panic. Stephen fills it because we want it. Now, a man that doesn't know how to control a trolley will not be able to control $7.6 million. And he's one guy out of hundreds of millions that will not be able to handle it. And even that amount of power corrupts people.
And if
Won't it actually distort the value of everything?
That's why we're going back to 1952. That's why we're going back to the 50s. You could buy a car for 10 sheep in 1952. Today you can buy a truck for 10,000 sheep. You know? It's still there. But we're going to go back to that. So I can go and buy that Chevy, the latest Chevy, and pay the 52 prices. Remember, every single cent of tax that we've paid has been stolen by us.
Yeah.
Tax is something that is not compulsory.
So could one use common law to challenge paying taxes?
Yes.
So is there somebody who specializes in common law that one could access? Christopher James.
Yeah, Christopher James.
Yeah, not
Is attached to Telegram. If you're attached to Telegram warrior calls, you have a book club. A warrior call. And then have a book club.
Sorry, may I ask if you share that we could share another
Sorry,
video?
Christopher James videos, if you're not attached to Facebook or Telegram, and then if you are on Telegram, there's a group called a Warrior Calls, and that is also attached to the book club. And so with the Nasara coming up, is there not also an opportunity for new technologies to be shared where it levels out the value so that we can focus our lives differently?
The entire world will be on a level, even keel.
Yeah.
Every country will have exactly the same value system because we will be going all back to exactly the same laws. So if my property in Sea Point costs 14 million rand, my property in the Karoo costs 14 million rand. There's not going to be a
Competitive model.
no, it has to be a level field in order for the QFS to work.
So a cooperative model.
Yes.
So will my little hut in Kailicha be able to buy me Ramaphosa's mansion?
There won't be commerce, because all they desire to make money off it.
Yeah. And you
But it's very different than the Great Reset version. where it's
As I said earlier on, they're waiting for one final signature. Now,
So easy.
that signature could have been received already. If the people knew the process involved to get to certain people. As I said, you can go to the government and you get buggered around from starboard to daft. You go around before you get to the right office. Now, unfortunately, certain groups of people working in it know what they must do, but they don't know how to do it. And they needed a group of, I'm going to call it advisors or an advisory board, that they can turn to any time and say, right, we're stuck, what now? Right now, the next is the Ministry of Treasury. Next is the Provost Marshal. Next is Donald Trump's signature, because Donald Trump's signature is very important. Believe it.
Why?
Donald Trump was the person that in 2008 originally participated in the QFS. He was the person that turned around and said, but this is all wrong. Now you should know as a businessman, which he's not your normal businessman, it's a billionaire businessman. People tell me, you support Donald Trump. No, I don't support Donald Trump, I support the man. I don't support the name, I support the man. And people tell me, how can you support him? He's been bankrupt 4 times. I said, yes, John. He's been bankrupt 4 times. You lost money at Creon, 1.8 million rand. You were bankrupt, but you've never got back to $1 million, $1 million rand. Donald Trump lost everything, and he went back to billionaire status. I'd like that's the recipe. I'd really like to know how did he do that 4 times. Should do it once.
Printing.
I've heard that the Rothschilds bailed him out in one situation. Is that true?
I would not put anything past the Rothschilds. I would not know, honestly. Jacob Rothschild, the face that we all see, the old man in Simpsons, that's Jacob Rothschild. That Mr. Burns is Jacob Rothschild. And how his life is, that's exactly how Jacob's life is. His son Nathan is he's a nice guy. Let's call him a nice guy. He's not the type of person I would like to go to a party with. But I would not put anything past the Rothschilds. The Rockefellers, 5 times worse.
What that?
Was Hillary a Rockefeller?
She's from the clan line, yes.
And Bill Gates as
Yes.
well.
So is it true that Bill Gates is actually,
The Rockefeller.
is?
He's gone.
Yeah.
Yeah, Bill Gates is gone.
Hillary Clinton said.
Hillary Clinton is gone.
Tom
Gone.
Hanks.
Yeah, he's dead.
Are you sure?
Dead.
So what are we
And
seeing
Obama.
now? A clone.
When last have you seen Hillary?
The other day, she was in some gown.
She was much shorter.
Yeah, and younger.
Hillary Clinton, the first Hillary Clinton, the original Hillary Clinton died at the 9/11 2016 commemoration.
Did you see JFK Jr. in the car?
It's a fake Donald Trump as well.
When they threw her into the,
Yes.
The bag.
What
she was
What was that where she
had
collapsed?
kuru.
where she collapsed at the World Trade
Yeah.
Centers. When they threw her in the,
Why did she collapse?
She
You know,
saw
She
JFK
saw
Jr.
JFK
in the
Jr.
car.
in the car?
and that was enough of the shock because that was they killed me.
And she had kuru disease or
Because
what?
she had kuru from eating too much bread. They ate it right.
Yeah.
But yeah,
I heard that the countries with the red, white, and blue flags are the ones you don't want to. I mean, you know, with those colors in the flag. You heard that? Or how about the DeGale population chart? Have you ever seen that?
yes.
And they say 17% reduction in Africa, but the other countries like Europe and US are like 60% reduction in the future.
Why
Well-
would that? Why would that?
Because they all take the vaccine.
Yes.
And climates, because it's getting colder, right?
Yeah, but besides that, let's quickly look at the geographics as well as the race involved in the geographics of the race. The elite wanted, you talk about bloodline? The elite wanted to create the illusion that a certain group is superior to the next group. And that was the money group to the slave group. Nothing to do with the colors yet. Then they started flooding Europe in 2012. The United Nations brought out opened the gates, and people started going to Europe and from Africa. And in 2016, Barack Obama said to Italy, at that time, Italy had a prime minister which was very pro-America, and it was not Matteo Salvini. Barack Obama had a meeting with the prime minister and said, you will start allowing this. And the prime minister was the one that pressed it at the United Nations and said so much million Europe can carry. Now a small little country like Italy made sums to say that Europe can handle the influx of 50 or 80 million people, be it what it was. I think it was 80 million per year. Then they said the first 1 million to arrive in Italy get given free boarding pass. And that is when we had all this influx of boats and people drowning, and Europe was overwhelmed, and Hungary closed down her borders, and Belgium went into panic, Paris went into a terrorist state, it's still in a terrorist state, and the whole world was upset because the genetics has been, the elites are trying to change the genetics of the human. The European, and I'm not talking about the white man, I'm talking about the European, is more developed functionally in the brain than the European in South Africa. We are very clever people, sorry. But we must remember, the Europeans sit for 6 months of the year with a colder winter. With the result is they have come up with a saving mentality for decades, for centuries. Africa, we don't have those winters. So we come up with a hunter-gatherer mentality for decades and centuries. So when I need a piece of meat, I go and shoot a buck. So Africa has never learnt the value of saving for the day of tomorrow, where Europe has already overcome that, due to the fact of how long winters they have to. Now, by breaking down the genetics, by mixing the cultures, mainly the Muslim cultures into the Christian cultures. Not only are you destroying the values and the ethics of a society, but at the same time destroying the religion of both.
Yes, I saw something, I don't know if it's true, that the Pope wants to start Chrislam. It's a new religion, new world. Is that fake news or is that like...
I think I saw something of the sort as well, and it would be very, very interesting knowing that the Pope, Mario Bergoglio, is also gone. Mario Bergoglio is gone. The true power now behind the Pope or the papacy is the guy, the Black Pope. Yeah, I'll get his name now. No, the Black Pope, no, he's the Grey Pope. I'll get his name now. Arturo Sosa. Arturo Sosa is now the main power, he's the superior general.
Isn't there something positive to be gained from bringing in people who, by virtue of the environment, the climate we've lived in, we learn to live in present moment as opposed to an old construct which is based on a system of fear, what if, or the blending of the two. There would be an inherent value behind each, and to find the balance between the two, is that a valuable outcome?
That is a very good outcome, and that is probably the ultimate, let's say, wish that we would like, the ultimate goal to achieve that. However, are we ready for that? It's a great initiative. I would push for something like that, but am I ready personally for that? I think so.
But if we don't challenge ourselves,
If we don't push ourselves to it, we're not going to know it.
and we have to challenge ourselves to grow, to learn, to release old systems.
And you and I and thousands like us are all in the same boat, and we're saying, let's challenge ourselves. But I'm going to guarantee you that my neighbor and the lady across the road, oh yes, the neighbor next door to me, waters a garden with a mask on, by the way. She's definitely not ready for this.
But the thing is, if I'm going to get all this...
I'm scared of the dog wearing a mask.
The controllers of say Europe, they want civil war, right? Because I mean, yes, I hear what the lady's saying, but the way they're doing it, I mean, I'm from Holland, is they're doing it with a divide. They're dividing them. It's not like normal integration. It's like they will show that those get what Dutch people are waiting for 10 years. So they want the divide. They want war. I can imagine. War.
Divide and conquer.
Yeah.
Well, those are the rules.
I know, yeah. So although the dream, what we would want be together, yes, we want that. But the way they're implementing it, it can never become that.
No, it can't.
Because they're doing it with divide and conquer.
You know, that's where everybody talks about democracy. We would like that because that sounds democratic.
It's who we are, naturally.
Yes, that sounds, naturally we are all sort of democrats.
Yeah, no.
But when we come to democracy, let's quickly just take it a little bit back to the Greek times of Democles. Democles was a very, very big owner of many slaves. And these slaves were, and the slave was owned by Democles. And for his first 6 fights, that slave had to survive. And when he survived, his housing, or the place where he was living, his food, his weapons, and his women were improved a notch. When he survived his 12th fight, his weapons, everything improved. When he survived his 18th and finally his 24th fight, remember each fight he was fighting for his life, then only was he given his freedom. That was democracy. If you're not willing to die 24 times for democracy, you'll never get it. That's where the world has been lost. We all are very quick to talk about our democracy. We don't know what the hell democracy is. If you are not willing to die for it, it's not what you want.
So once we've all got, our cards, can we arrange events where we go somewhere together as a group with our cards and
must make our own news.
And seriously do it? Can
Oh,
we
wait.
yes, I haven't changed
It would be the best.
Get
I
more
haven't
people
changed
to
the
get
law.
cards.
And then we make our own news. We
Yes.
make an article about it, and
Yes.
then when people look up New World Alliances, they see, oh, these people went into checkers.
Let's do
Oh,
it.
these people.
I would suggest.
What's the
Lots of music.
Yeah.
Those baddies don't like music.
Yeah, they don't.
Judy wants to have lots of fun here. So
tambourines and things.
I would suggest that our
Why don't
first
they
event
like
is to go and bomb the hub site.
No, we can't.
I seriously think
No?
we must get demolition teams together and take down the hub sites in South Africa.
The what
The what sites?
hard.
The white?
We've got enough hub sites in South Africa.
Pardon?
Do you know where they are, Larry?
Well, when the time is
I do know
right,
where a few
follow
are.
me.
Yes, but I'm saying we don't want to use them. We don't
Do
want to
you
use
want to talk on the whole climate change?
The hub sites.
No, well, the whole scam of it. How they.
The application of the car has been tested at the airport.
Has been tested globally. All over the world it's been tested. As I said earlier on, we had a few problems in Japan. I had because they wanted it in these writings. We could not give it to them in that writing. I had problems in Indonesia. I had problems in Sweden. You're close to your world. And it wasn't because of the certificate. It was because the person who did not want to have the PCR test in the nose and was saying you can take it from my mouth. Now, unfortunately, every country has got a PCR, their own mannerism of PCR tests. But your right states you do not have to be part of this experiment. You really need. I spit him, I will give you, I'll spit in your face too if you want. You know, you can have it. You can have as much as you want. But don't shove anything up my nose.
And
And when a person turns around and says, but I've got a certificate, I'm not going to allow you.
Yeah.
You don't give them the opportunity.
You've got more ground to stand on.
You don't give them the opportunity. You
Just take their name and ID.
no, just turn around and say, you know, I don't consent to that. This is my certification. These are my rights, and this is what I demand. If you really want to shove up something up my nose, I can help you. It's not going to work out the way you planned.
because I'm going, after this talk, I'm going to get a PCR test for my son who has to have surgery Friday. So it's been, I'm trying to go through this in my head, how I'm gonna handle it.
Ask him to take
Spit is allowed
a mouth
everywhere.
swab.
Yeah. Spit into something, or
Everybody's accepting spit now. Everybody.
Just a spit.
they are?
Lancet is accepting spit.
But what is it measuring anyway? Because it's not,
Exactly.
it's all the fun.
It's all of us.
And the FDA's revoked it until Fauci comes up with a new one or what?
Well, Fauci won't be coming up with anything new.
But
Fauci's too busy finding the field to hide in.
what will happen with the PCR in December once the old one is revoked?
December, we're looking at a very rough time coming up in December. We're looking at a possible lockdown of the country
Yeah.
on the 14th. Let me tell you straight on the date that we've got. We've
They
been
know that the
given the
new
date.
wave
Is
is
this a level 5 lockdown?
Yes, we've been given the date of the 14th. And this is what we're fighting against. My emails, this is what we're fighting against, is that specific date. Due to the fact that to me it's 10 years too late. If you really wanted to lock the country down, lock it down 10 years ago. People would have slept then.
Well, we can do an event on the 14th.
No, nothing's going to happen. They're not going to be able to push forward their lockdown anymore.
Why?
I said earlier on to one of my friends, I said, due to international pressure, when America sneezes, South Africa gets the flu. So, due to international pressure, South Africa's days are ending. The whole COVID hoax is ending.
Wow.
Are they going to get the
We are seeing it going down. We are seeing McKeezer, which gets shifted out of his position immediately because you didn't know what you were talking about in the first place. Now we got the second guy that is coming to give us another bit of education with a lovely mask. I like this white mask. It's really ugly. It's good. But he's got this mask, and you can see he's smiling broadly because this is a great opportunity. If I want to be on camera, I'd rather take my mask off. Don't go and sit and smile and hope people are going to notice you. But anyway, and he himself is trying to enact things that government tell him to. But at the same time, when government says something, at the same time government says also that the FDA does not do this, if the CDC does not approve that. So where are we going? We're busy closing this chapter down. In February next year, they aim to come and hit us with a beautiful, a fresh one.
Spars, I think it's
Yeah, a fresh one.
And they're cooking up the next virus.
Oh.
The next virus is going to be a decent virus. It's not going to be this Mickey Mouse one.
You mean the fake
You
one?
mean the seriously dangerous
It's going to be a dangerous one. Remember, they're going to bring it out. They're going
There's
to
a
bring it
real,
out.
you say a real one.
They can be stopped. They are going to be stopped. But remember, no matter how hard you fight the elite, they're going to fight you back.
Immunologists and virologists always say that viruses aren't contagious, so it's
Yeah, they're not.
No, they're not.
So you say the next one will be.
They're not viruses. You see,
It's
what
a
they do is they're
bioweapon.
things that enter your body,
Okay.
like the spike protein. So it's not nothing to do with anything that's a real virus. It's to do with a sort of like an extraterrestrial something, not terrestrial, but there's something that they manufacture that can
But
do
they're
what the spike
manufacturing
protein
something.
does.
Isn't it
Spike
more
protein is pretty bad.
parasites than anything
So
else?
can you,
Yeah.
when you talk now December and then you say April, what is ahead of that, after that for us,
But I
like the
mean,
way
what
you
about-
see it?
That's the plan.
This is only IMO. This is only in my opinion. And I started off saying it's not all doom and gloom, and I continually say that it's not all doom and gloom. We've got a great future ahead of us. We are closing down this whole ugly chapter. This is going to close down. When we open up our eyes, it's going to be so sudden. We're going to open up our eyes and it's going to be gone, and we're going to say, were we ever there? This I'm guaranteeing to you.
Is that contingent upon more people becoming aware? But the thing is, how does one, a lot of people don't want to hear the truth, and the process would not be to force anyone into the truth. How does one allow people to discover it for themselves? So that
This is my only advice to any person. Just live your truth. What people see by you is what people will follow. People will not respect you because you are the school teacher or you are the doctor. People will respect you because you have shown them, this is me, this is my soul, and this is the truth of my soul. And when people see you, let them love you. We all worry about people loving us. They mustn't love us. Don't love us. Love us, because then we're living on the same planet.
Sorry, can I just ask, it's if you are confronting somebody and you're producing your card and you ask for their ID number, let's say it's the police or somebody like that, what if they refuse to give you their ID number and they try and exert their power over you? How do you...
That does happen, and it's going to happen. It's going to happen.
You have to do group
Now,
events.
if you're with a policeman, he's got a name on his chest, you tell him, thank you very much, constable, sergeant, warrant officer, whoever. And you write it down, and your registration number on this vehicle is this. And this is the date, and I see it's a C point bucky. Thank you very much. That is your cease and desist, and that is your notice.
And even if they take you in and they arrest you, you just stay with your
You
narrative?
stay with your rights. You have got a right. If they arrest you, I guarantee you Nesara has come for you tomorrow.
Have we got a phone number?
If they arrest you and lock you up for any COVID-related issue, Nesara and Gesara has just happened in your life because you sue the shit out of the police for illegal detention.
But you got to register that name on the website, right? On the
Well, I'll tell you now, when a person takes a certificate, when a person gets given honorably diplomatic status, that person's details gets registered with the New World Alliance as a diplomat inside the New World Alliance.
Does it happen straight
And
away?
that has been registered. The NWA is within the United Nations as an organization that is opposing them. When I got communications from the World Health Organization, they said to me, we strongly advise you not to create a resistance group. So I said, I'm not creating a resistance group. What I am doing is I am creating herd mentality. The same herd mentality you people are creating to get the people vaccinated, I'm creating to tell people don't to get vaccinated. So if I'm wrong, I only followed your example.
Now, on the vaccine note, do you think that there might be some placebos that are?
Yes, there definitely were placebos.
There were, because it makes me wonder with the people I've seen. Some get sick and some are okay.
Placebos, definitely, so that it didn't look that bad
There
straight away.
definitely were placebos.
Yeah.
It's also
Do
you know who's the placebo, or is it just
They
eeny,
do.
meeny, miny, mo?
The person exhibiting it or giving it out, they know. Believe me, they know.
Not the nurses.
The nurses wouldn't know.
Can I comment on the different angles, because we have to go into a different angle, and how do we strategize that one, how do we do this one, who's doing what, so we go in on a different method. If we go on informed consent, and you've got your own version of that, we've got the common law. Now I work more in the legal side, right, so we've got cease and desist as well, and the same with that. I walked into a restaurant in Sea Point the other day meeting doctors, and FJ and Mandy, we were all three together. The three of us walked into this shopping centre without masks, and everyone's masked up, even the doctors that we were meeting inside. When they went to the toilet, first thing is they do, they've got their mask on. Number one is you don't need actually a cease and desist, because the same in common law as in our law is that you don't need it. Your no is your no. And there must not be consequences. People don't understand this. You can't say no. And even though we've got the same, what we do is also you take the name, if they refuse, your witnesses sign and they send it through to us. So common law and us work together. So you empower yourself with both. Because some people are not going to feel comfortable with the common law, and some people aren't going to be comfortable with our law because they don't trust it. Do both, work together, and that's what we do, is we work together and get the public engaged. Because not everybody is known to this. So you need to go gentle and explain it to them, and that's what I said about a book for dummies. We need that. Don't study common law, and don't study standard law as we know it. Get in the middle, and what is your right? Your right is to say no. Your right is to breathe, so don't wear a mask. We walk in and you say, well, I'm not wearing a mask. If they question, you say, well, would you like a cease and desist? We don't even pull out the paper. And that's how you progress into doing that. I think we might be talking on Thursday again, so then we can carry
Just
on.
ask one thing there, on that thing, just forcing your right. What about their rights as the rights reserved? Like if you, surely there needs 5 as far, they have to approach the shopping mall, go to management and say, are you fine with me entering your establishment? Because there's
I understand your question totally, and where that sort of comes up as a bit of a funny feeling is, sorry to say this, I might sound blunt, and I don't give a shit about these rights. This is my rights. If you want me to mask up at 55 years of age, learn to wash my hands when I come into a shopping centre and turning left into Discount and coming out and going into Pep stores. By the time I've been to the shopping centre, I've washed my hands 9 times or 10 times. It's more than I normally wash it in a day. And I am quite clean up.
If you're an alcoholic, it actually recurs.
I'm a raging alcoholic. Yes. Exactly, so it does recur, you know. But you understand what I'm saying? So I'm sorry about his rights. Yes, it is right of admission reserved. However, what is your constitution of right of admission reserved? In what context was right of admission reserved set out? It could be that it was set out no firearms, no knives beyond this point, no pets. That is what right of admission reserved means. People with tackies, people with pluckies, you don't come in here. So that could have been that. But now you have just added the burden of COVID. Sorry sir, it's my right of admission reserved. What are your rights? No, the COVID rights. Thank you very much. You are served. You are warned. It is not difficult to fight for what you know in your heart is right. The problem is we are in denial. Humans are in denial. Holy fuck, it happened. What happened? You know, how did we get here? Well, it happened, boys. We're still here. It happened. Many people are still battling to understand what happened. No, but you know, somewhere there's some virus got lost from some lab in China that has affected the world to such an extent that you and I are sitting here today wondering where's our future gone. Now, I'm not worried about my future because I've lived life. But I'm worried about my children and possibly, if one of them are clever enough not to have children, but I'm worried about my grandchildren. You know, so we're not fighting for ourselves here. We're fighting for the legacy of what we leave behind. Now, am I going to sit down and my grandson says to me, Daddy, how was it on the beach? When you grew up, you got photos, you were on the beach, how was it? Why may we not go to the beach today? Oh, sorry, my boy, there's COVID there. we stay away there.
Just to answer your question as well, what we do is if you go in with your mask without it, so we go gently. Your first step is it's my right to not wear it. If you want to wear a mask, you are protected. You're not my medical doctor. You don't need to disclose that you've got a medical condition, but they can't decide for you whether you can breathe or not with a mask. So are they going to take liability for you? No, they won't. But what we say is you are protected with your mask. I'm happy to take chances with my unit.
Yes.
They can't let you not in. It's your choice not to shop there if they refuse you access, but they can't deny you access unless you've broken rules. It's your choice to not access, but they can't prevent you from access. And you aren't breaking a rule with not wearing a mask. It's not legal. Although they're trying to convince us it is, it's not. But the thing is, we use it just and know them. It's their right is to wear a mask if they want to. Our right is to not. Our right is to not access.
In Pick and Pay, I don't wear a mask. My first approach is it's against my religion. They sort of stump. And I saw a friend at the entrance to Pick and Pay, and we were chatting. He had a mask on, and I didn't. And like 4 staff members came and tried to forcefully make me put a mask on. I didn't have a mask. I should have taken my undies off. They were going on about this rights of admission. So
you haven't broken a law, and they must bring you the law that you
They must bring you the law that's the statute that has stated that is law. That is it.
The trouble is though that guys that actually are left there to enforce the law really don't know anything.
No, they don't know.
And they I'm going to lose my job if you don't put your mask on.
Yeah, exactly.
I've got a very good friend in Bredasdorp who works in one of the shops, and this guy washes my hands. He's one of the sprayers. He's got a he's got a he's a COVID marshal. But all the years he's been a very big voice in rights. Nee meneer, julle moet na ons regte kyk, you know, you guys must look after my rights, and He's always been a very good example. I would tell other guys, I'd say, listen, look at Sydney. Sydney he's got it going. This guy knows where he's heading. Today he's a marshal. He washes my hands. So I said to him, how did you go backwards? No, that was the only job I could get. COVID and alles mos doodgemaak meneer. So I said to him, but you've been carrying on for years about the injustices that certain races have done to certain races. And now you're following the narrative of the World Health Organization white bosses by giving him a spray bottle to spray white man's hands again. Who the fuck is winning who here? He turned around and he said to me, nee, fucking nou sien ek wat jy sê. But that's just factual. You know, people that have gone, they progressed to a certain level, and now suddenly they're back to where they were due to COVID. We are living in denial. We don't want to see what's happening. It's safer that way.
Larry, one thing that concerns me a lot, and is that the people who seem to be taking vaccines are obviously the ones who run these big businesses. So like in 2 years' time we're going to have a totally different scenario. Who's alive, who's not alive, you know, I can see that key functions are going to be missing. Yeah. They're going to be missing because everybody in that particular function left. I think the doctors are no loss, to be honest. Well, as it so happens, they've all proven themselves to have no intellect. So what in hell are they doing with our bodies, you know? And it's probably not the first time they've made mistakes either. If you look at the whole antibiotics fiasco as well.
You know, if we're going into this cashless or this society of equality, there are a lot of big corporations that we're not going to miss, actually. And to come back to our doctors, our frontline fighters, thank God for medbeds.
Yeah. Well, when they're coming.
Well, where are they?
Yeah.
They are being deployed. They are being deployed internationally already.
Aren't they dangerous?
No, a medbed.
Not everyone understands medbeds.
Medbed will either fix you totally. It restores. It is technology we don't know about. It is technology so far advanced that
like bioweapons.
No, now we know a bioweapon because it's knocking us silly. But no, this is such an advanced, intricate part of what's coming. Earlier on you mentioned about the technology. There is so much that is hidden from us that we don't know. As I said, we looked in 1984 at these TV programs and people were talking to their watches. Never ever thought we'd have a cell phone. When the first time that cordless phone came out, you remember that one, the aerial? I used to walk in my front yard so everybody see I've got one. You understand? And see how far the thing still works before it cuts off. Today we're walking with the smaller cell phones. The first cell phone came out was a big brick. I threw a guy in Durban Point Road with it. And I picked up the phone and I phoned the police with it. It still worked. It had an aerial that folded up.
So what do we do about the innocent victims like the bees that we've just lost and the birds and the millions of other animals that talk about, okay, we're going to lose along the way? Is there any... that's coming from the satellites, isn't it?
When 5G is activated, we're going to lose much more than that. And that's the sad thing about it.
Can't you stop it?
But isn't it activated now?
It is activated, but I'll tell you that specifically from Hermanus over Betty's, it's actually Betty's Bay over, across to what's this nuclear plant? Kubo. That is the path that she runs. And in that path you can feel between 2 and 5:30 in the morning.
Yeah, that's me. Yeah.
You can feel it. There's a buzz in the air. You can feel it. There is people who don't feel it don't know what they must be looking to feel.
Can it kill us,
So Betty's
Larry?
Bay to...
From it comes over Betty's Way.
So we'd be able to feel it anywhere on the peninsula here?
When they do put it into bad, when they do put it in that it's going to do bad to us, believe me, we're going to know about it.
And when will that
When is this going to
No, that is not going to happen. If we fight and you keep the power in the right hands, that won't happen. Let's just quickly look at, you have a gathering, a social gathering of 10,000 people at a soccer match. You can spread via the ions and the electromagnetic pulses. You can spread thirst. And everybody buys Cokes.
Gosh.
Same that you spread that thirst. You can spread negative ions. And everybody starts fighting.
Subliminal advertising.
That happens during our riots. A riot that starts out peacefully ends up with 3/4 of a city burning.
We thought it was Mercury retrograde.
People didn't
That's today, Judy, that's today.
People didn't go out this morning and say, I'm going to go set the lights San Francisco.
So is COVID actually a combination of both radiation
Yes,
symptoms and parasite?
yes.
That's actually
Well,
what...
that would summarize it beautifully.
Have they done flyovers?
Yeah.
With?
Poisoning.
Poisoning. Oh yes, no, you get poisoned every single day. You get poisoned every day.
People are saying on the Cape Black airplanes at night.
You get poisoned every day.
So when people say someone died from COVID, you don't know what it is because
We have to all the consequences.
What about this murdering in the hospitals? At the moment, we know that if you go in there and you haven't been vaccinated because they're trying to build up the statistics, they give you remdesivir or they put you on ventilator. And if you do go in there with real and you have been vaccinated, they give you ivermectin, and you hopefully survive so they can put up the numbers. But I don't know why they even bother, considering they always lie about the numbers anyway. Yeah. So what's
beds, hospital beds are not called hospital beds. They are called COVID beds. And if a hospital has got 2,500 beds, of which 1,800 are occupied, they haven't got 1,800 patients. They've got 1,800 COVID beds. I was in hospital. I was a COVID bed. And I really was sick. I really was sick. But I was a COVID bed, and I still said to the sister, I said, how can you call me a COVID bed? I'm here for a burst ulcer.
You see?
And now you people are telling me that I'm a COVID, all beds are counted as COVID.
and also cure doesn't mean to fix.
But
Cure means to keep.
if they try to keep you there, can you get that person out? Because they, you can't find them. They take them away. And
Well, I was in the hospital. It was a hospital for 4 days. They wanted to put me out the second day.
Because you made noise.
Yeah, they wanted to put me out the second day. I had one hell of a problem in the hospital.
they wanted to send you home?
No, they wanted to expel me from hospital. You're not welcome. Get out. We're busy working on your ontslag. Ons gaan jou nou ontslag. Discharge you. I said, thank you very much. When are we leaving? The second morning that I was in hospital, as I say, I was rushed to hospital with a burst ulcer, and I woke up the next morning, could not breathe, and I had a patch here and a patch here, and every now and then somebody comes with a big injection, they push something into this patch, and an hour later somebody else pushes something else into the patch, and I never saw a doctor. The second day, I looked around, and yeah, 10 o'clock in the morning, the doctors started doing the rounds, and this doctor with 5 little students came in. And the first visit, we were 6 people in this hall. Visited that person, this person, up opposite this person. And she comes and she says to the person at the door with this trolley that opens like that and just medicines and stuff. Who are you? I said, Larry Swart. Larry Swart. And they took out this big plastic Ziploc bag, and she took out this long thing and she puts my head. She comes, she pushes my head back, and she says to the students, her 5 doctor students, today I will show you how a proper nasal PCR test is administered. And I took her by the hand and I said, what the fuck did you do here? Then I could breathe. I was healthy, I could breathe. But I gave her all shit on this earth, to the extent that she phoned my sisters. Now I've got 2 lovely sisters. Both of them are spinsters, so they are very, very soft-hearted. And they immediately thought, what has Larry done? The hospital is even kicking him out. And Maureen rushed through to the hospital. And in the meantime, I put the doctor in a place. The students didn't know where to look. They were... Nobody knew what to say or anything. The whole entire wing of that hospital was quiet. Right in the bottom is the maternity ward. Even the babies were quiet. There wasn't, you know, a maternity ward's always crying. Even the babies were quiet. And the whole place was quiet for about 20 minutes. Next to me is an old man. He's 72, comes from a town called Elam. He says softly, "Kan ek 'n vraag vra?" I said to him, "Oh, sure, you know, I never knew that I had a choice. I always thought the doctor knew better. And I thought, this is the ultimate pedestal." And I stood in that passage and I said, "Jy laat nie 'n donder se ding aan jou neus nog druk nie." And when I left there, I can guarantee you, even the nurses were in tears. After 4 days, the nurses were in tears and they said, "We miss you, but you taught us the truth." The nurses never knew the truth.
So did they know about the vaccinations being...
Well, I gave them so much as what I knew at that stage, that this Dr. Rabi, when she phoned my sister, asked my sister, "Who is he?" And she said, "Your hospital will end on its roof." And then when I heard that she questioned my sister, I went into her and I said, "Where's your ethics? How can you talk about me to... I'm here, you know." But anyway, guys, it was...
Sorry, just to touch on the subject of how they can influence your mindset. There's a movie called Kingsman: The Secret Service that basically shows you exactly what they are able to do with technology. If you look at pirates, they're still pirates, but we don't have the use for live ammunition because we've got the ability of sonic weaponry. We don't have to use live weapons. We can use sonic weaponry, and you can basically disable someone for an hour. You can actually pay them to be blind or deaf for a certain period until you get a chance to get away. So if you look at technology that is to our availability, Trump even said that we are not emotionally evolved enough to have the technology that we have our ability.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you
I think we could actually listen to Larry's... At 3 o'clock is storytelling with Larry.